Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today I'm reviewing the newest film from Netflix, Spiderhead. So Spiderhead is a science fiction thriller film, and it takes place on this island where these prisoners are being experimented on using different mind-altering drugs. See, they're offered the opportunity to leave anytime they want to, but they know if they leave this trial, they will have to go back to a standard prison where things are far worse, far more dangerous to them, or at least that's how it seems. Because as they're living on this island, they get to live more freely. They have their own personal rooms. They get to kind of freely roam around. They have nice amenities, but they don't realize really what's going on behind the scenes. Miles Teller plays one of these prisoners, and he gives a really solid performance because he's someone who's really struggling with his past. He feels like he deserves the punishment that he's being given, but then he's struggling to act upon the things that the experimenters are kind of forcing him to do. They're forcing him to kind of put pain upon people that he cares about, kind of be obedient to everything he's telling him to do, while he's also being experimented on himself. You really see this tension building throughout the movie. In the beginning, he's kind of happy to go along with it. He's happy to be involved in these trials to a certain degree. And then things get more and more sinister into where he just cannot handle it anymore. And those moments where he fully freaks out, he fully loses it, are some of the more powerful moments in the film. Chris Hemsworth plays the lead scientist in this movie, and he also gives a pretty decent performance. It's this very unsettling character who is very joyous and likable on the surface, but you can tell just behind, just behind the eyes, you can see, and some actors are able to pull off where there's something going on there, something bad, sinister, something dark that's looming back in their mind, when on the surface they may seem happy and go lucky. The conflict between Miles Teller and him is probably the best part of this movie. I do enjoy the overall aesthetics of the film, the cinematography, the production design, the computer-generated environments and actions. They look pretty good. It fits like what I like that style of film, the sci-fi, the juxtaposition between the harsh, angular, modern look of mankind against this kind of lush island that they're on. I like those two things together, but there's not a lot past those performances and that really is there in this movie. It felt like this movie off the bat really wanted to say something, and it never really fully got there. It struggles with the idea of mankind, incarceration, the idea of control, dominance, and all the things that go along with that, but it doesn't come outright and say it. It's kind of just saying, okay, we're working on these drugs to make people obedient. That's bad. We shouldn't do that. That's really all that really comes out of it. It doesn't feel like it dives any deeper than that on any level. Like I said, while this movie does have some powerful and shocking moments, they're kind of few and far between. The movie kind of runs a loop a little bit of just running experiments, talking with each other, running experiments, talking with each other, and it kind of slows down a lot. I was really invested in probably the first half of the film, and it never really pushes it enough to where the payoff's there for being kind of a slow burn. The one thing that really knocked the film down for me in particular is the third act. Because the third act, this movie, in my opinion, really struggles with what the tone it's trying to strike. Because like I said, it hits this like crescendo of this impact where Miles Teller's character doesn't want to do it anymore. He realizes what's happening. He's struggling. He's fighting with Chris Hemsworth in a way of like, we can't do this anymore. This is totally unethical. This is horrible what you're doing to someone. People shouldn't be treated like this. We aren't defined by our past. And then it gets kind of goofy because they're playing this kind of music that doesn't fit the tone, the kind of goofy fighting with kind of upbeat music going on with really harsh, hard things happening in the background. And it almost turns into like this comical thing at the end, and it fully rushes it. Like the last 10, 15 minutes, all this build up to just rush it in this kind of goofy way. And Chris Hemsworth, I'm sorry, spoilers, but he gets affected by his own medicine, his own chemicals are going off in his brain. He's trying to escape, but then he crashes his plane because he can't stabilize how he feels. And it just, there's no real payoff there. I didn't really feel satisfied with the way the film ended. And it just kind of abruptly ends. It's like they escape on a boat and that's it. We don't see where this goes. We don't see what happens. And I'm fine with films being ambiguous in a way, but it didn't say enough and it didn't do enough to kind of merit an ending that's just like, oh, well, everything just happened. So if I were to rate this movie, I would actually give it a 5.5 out of 10. It's not horrible. Like I said, I think the first half and the concept is really intriguing and really interesting. It just never fully feels like it gets its footing. It never fully feels like it's saying what it wants to say. And it kind of falls flat, in my opinion, especially in the third act. Is it the worst movie I've seen? Is it the worst movie on Netflix? No. But there's other movies and other shows that have worked with concepts like this that did it far better. And I definitely would have liked to see him go a little further and try a little harder and push a little more when pushing those themes overall in the film. So again, if you checked out Spiderhead, let me know what you think about it. Did you really enjoy it? Maybe you popped it on and you got something out of it that I didn't, but I just feel like it didn't really land that. But I'd love to see your comments down below. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.